So you would like to know the 5 different ways to make mosaics and why? Well, you're in the right place. I'm Helen Miles and I'm here to teach you all the tips and tricks you need to make mosaics. In this video, we're going to look at 5 mosaic methods and why we use them. Each different mosaic method has a particular use, so we use it for a particular purpose. And that's what we're going to look at in this video. The 5 mosaic methods we are going to examine in this video are the direct method with glue, the fiberglass mesh method, the tile adhesive method, which is the same as thinset, the indirect paper-backed method, and the indirect cast method. This is an overview of these 5 methods in order to show you the different approaches and to explain how to choose which method is best for your project. The first method we're going to look at is the direct method with glue. In this method, you take a smooth surface, it could be a piece of wood, wedgie board, concrete or ceramic, seal it if needed, and then apply your tiles to it with glue. After your pieces have been stuck down and are dry, you then grout the mosaic. So this mosaic has been made with the direct method with glue and grouted, which means all the gaps between the tiles have been filled up with grout. This method is a good one to choose if you're starting off making mosaics, because there are very few processes involved in making a mosaic. It's simply a matter of sticking the tiles, direct method, which means the flat surface is facing upwards, sticking them down and then grouting. It's also a good one to choose if you're using purpose-made, bought tiles from mosaic suppliers. So this is glass, vitreous glass, and you're looking at it from reverse, which means you're seeing the ridge side, but actually the front of the tiles are smooth, like this one. And then the other material which you buy from mosaic suppliers is unglazed ceramic, which is also smooth with a ridged side on the back. And these two mosaic materials can be used together because they're the same depth. So the finished mosaic, if you're using this method, has slight irregularities. It's not completely smooth. It's hard to show you in the video, which means this is a good method to use if you're making a mosaic for a wall, but not a method to use if you were making a floor and needed the result to be completely smooth. The second mosaic method is the fiberglass mesh method. So this is your fiberglass mesh. And essentially, all you do is take a piece of the mesh, put your design underneath it, a piece of plastic on top of the design. I just use ordinary cling film, and then the mesh on top of that. And then you glue your tiles onto the mesh, making sure that you don't use too much glue because you don't want it squishing up in between the tiles. And then when your piece is finished, you can then take the mesh away from the base and peel off. In fact, this is just stayed where it is, and peel it off from the plastic behind it. This is a great method if you have a mosaic in an awkward place or a height that is difficult to reach. So you'd use the mesh method in your studio, and then if it's a very large piece, you could cut it up into different sections following the grout lines and then install it on site. Another really good thing about this method is that you can apply the mosaic to slightly curved surfaces. The third method is the tile adhesive method. You would choose this method if you have a lot of different tesserae which have different thicknesses. For example, pebbles, shells and broken pottery, like these. I've made a video about how to make the tile adhesive thinset, which I'll link in the description below. But basically you make a paste and you push your tesserae, your pieces, into the paste up to 1/2 to 2/3 of the depth, so it's firmly embedded. So the good thing about this method is it doesn't need grouting. So I just made this little practice piece using the tile adhesive method. And you can see that the pieces are all different depths, different heights, sorry. So you have a very rough surface. And it's very rough but also textured, which is a part of the joy of using this technique. Another reason why you might want to use tile adhesive is if you're using Smolty, this Venetian glass which has natural holes in it. So you wouldn't want to grout Smolty because the grout would get into the holes. The fourth mosaic method is the indirect paper-backed method. For this method, you make a water-soluble glue out of flour and water and apply your tiles upside down onto the rough side of the brown paper. So each tile, the tiles when you buy them from a mosaic supplier, have a smooth side and a rough side, a ridged side. So that's the glass one and this is ceramic. So you're placing the tiles, you're gluing the tiles upside down in reverse onto the paper with the rough side facing upwards. Then when your mosaic is ready, you prepare a concrete bed, turn the paper over, press it into the concrete, tamping it down, wait for the, dampen the paper, wait a few minutes for it to soak through, and then peel away the paper, leaving your mosaic embedded into the concrete. And this is the method you would use if you need a completely flat surface, like for a floor. The fifth mosaic method is the cast method, and you would use this method if you wanted to embed a mosaic into a concrete slab, like if you were making a stepping stone. For this method, you also lay the tiles upside down onto a piece of brown craft paper. You then create a frame or use a bought frame like this one, and you put your piece of paper on the bottom of the frame and pour concrete halfway up, completely covering it. And then you put metal mesh to reinforce the concrete and then cover the mesh with concrete again. And then you would wrap that and leave it to cure for about a week. And then when it's fully set and rock hard, you'll be able to unscrew these screws, remove these battens on the edges of the frame, turn the mosaic over and peel off the paper, and you'd see the true side of your mosaic, and you'd have a concrete slab with the mosaic embedded into it. So that is a summary of the 5 mosaic methods. There are more methods, but I won't tell you about them now. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, then please subscribe below.